Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning into this week's extended European outlook from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go, we're going to go through the ECMWF weeklies for the next 4 weeks / 30 days, see what's happening. We'll also have a look at weeks 5 and 6 as well. So I'll get on that for you in a moment. Just say that first. A video sales, I said UK weather forecast. We're going to have a 10 to 14 day, and I will try and squeeze in a little update for the bank holiday weekend as well today. If I don't get that one, it will definitely be tomorrow. So, as I say, please like, share, subscribe, make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're ecmwf.int for supplying the charts and also the data. Thank you so much, EC. Right, going to start off with the week 1 mean sea level pressure anomaly taking us through this week. It's the 11th to the 18th of August. So high pressure dominating across much of northern and also western central Europe. Low pressure pushed out into the far north and northeast, and also low pressure in the Atlantic, just helping to combine with the ridge to draw up hot air through central, northern and western Europe. 500 millibar heights, looks like that. So there's that cut-off low to western Portugal. That's often a giveaway sign of very hot air moving up the western side of Europe. You'd have a ridge to the east of it, such as we have at the moment. Cool air into the far northeast of Europe and northwestern parts of Russia. So, sorry everyone, so this is how temperatures are looking this week. Very hot across western parts of Europe. Remember, these are anomalies to average. So across much of France, into southern Germany and the Low Countries and northern Spain, we are around 6 to 10 degrees above normal. So, of course, southern France, that's going to be a very hot time of year anyway. Add on 6 to 10 degrees and exceptionally hot through much of France, Spain, Portugal. Other areas not quite as hot as that, but still hot. So Ireland, the UK, large portions of Belgium and Holland and the Netherlands and Germany, around 3 to 6 degrees above normal. So that's pretty hot for this time of the year as well. Going further eastwards, we can see that Poland, not quite as hot through there, but then down into more central and southeastern parts of Europe, such as the Balkans, Romania, again, see temperatures widely above average. Many parts of Scandinavia also coming out with above average temperatures, about a little bit cooler through central north parts of Norway, and not quite as hot up there compared to other parts of Europe, but the really cooler air is in the extreme east of Europe, so like Lithuania and also Belarus and Estonia and Latvia, and particularly into western, northwestern parts of Russia. That's where we've got the below average temperatures quite widely there. Temperature anomalies around 1 to 3 degrees below average. Actually quite chilling. Precipitation-wise, it looks like this. So many areas coming out drier than normal. A hot and dry week for much of Europe under that big area of high pressure. We've got Ireland, UK, France, right way over to Ukraine in the east, looking drier than normal. You've got to go up to the far north of Norway and Sweden and Finland to find anything a little bit wetter, and perhaps some heavy showers scattered about through parts of the Mediterranean. But overall, a very dry week this week. Week 2 is the 18th to the 25th of August, so high pressure still dominating the weather, centred between Scotland and Iceland now. Perhaps more in way of low pressure in towards France, Spain and Portugal. I've got an easterly flow as well that could start to bring in some of that slightly cooler or fresher air from the north and from the northeast of Europe. What about the 500 millibar heights for week 2? They are looking like this. Again, above average height centre through many western and northern parts of Europe. That sharp patch just a little bit back a little bit further westwards into more of those northern and eastern parts of Europe there, with some cooler air pushing southwards. So temperature anomalies going slightly below average in the northeast. So again, large portions of central northern Sweden and most of Finland going below average. And then, of course, got the Baltic Sea states, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, down to Belarus and into Russia, with those below average temperatures continuing. And then southwards of that in towards the Black Sea and down to some of the Greek islands, possibly including Turkey, and even some parts of the Middle East, slightly cooler than average through there, but of course they are anomalies to average, so it will still be very hot. Backing further westwards, where we see some slightly cooler air in towards Portugal and western Spain. But that said, many other parts of central western Europe coming out hotter than normal again. Heat particularly focused across southern England, the Low Countries, Germany and France. But again, 3 to 6 degrees above normal. Mediterranean also looking pretty hot, especially so through the central Bowl, Corsica, Sardinia. Looks like it could be roasting next week. Precipitation looks like that, so beginning to get a little bit wetter maybe, perhaps some thunderstorms getting going through the Bay of Biscay into France, possibly affecting northern parts of Spain and Portugal as well, although the rest of Spain looking relatively dry, most of the Med looking dry, and then much of Europe actually, or much of the rest of Europe looking dry, particularly Scandinavia, Nordic region, southwards towards Germany and Poland. UK, interesting, so dry on average for Scotland and Northern Ireland, but the Republic and England and Wales possibly turning a little bit more showery, closer to average rainfall maybe through there, but doesn't look especially wet. However, this is a change. This is week 3. It's the 25th of August to the 1st of September. Pressure just generally looks like it's falling across many parts of Europe there. 500 millibar heights, not really showing much of any use, but you'll notice that the above average heights, the high pressure signal, is definitely weakening to some degree. Temperature only though remains above average away from the extreme east and northeast anyway. Many areas still warmer than normal, although not as hot as weeks 1 and 2, but still generally above average temperatures. Precipitation weakening signals, but could be hinting at something a bit more unsettled, maybe in towards France, Bay of Biscay. Very weak signal, so we're losing the drive and average signal, but not necessarily going overly wet. Could that be a transitional week? Well, week 4 will be the 1st to the 8th of September, and that looks very uncertain as well, so let's just put in some question marks, and we move on to 500 millibar heights, which also look very, very uncertain. And what about the temperature anomaly? Well, again, largely above average in many areas, so slightly warmer than normal, not as hot as the first couple of weeks. Ever so slightly, as we're going along, maybe hinting at something a bit more unsettling to the west of Europe. Ireland and the UK, for example, has a weak signal to be wetter than average. Right, well, that's your 30-day look done, but let's go through weeks 5 and 6 data before we go. So week 5 is the 8th to 15th of September. So signs of a Scandinavian high appearing there, and the Azores high down towards Spain. Could there be some low pressure coming in between those two ridges? Possibly. 500 millibar heights doesn't show that particularly low, but does show the Scandinavian high. So that could bring the wind around to the east. So a lot of dry weather, not necessarily all that warm. Temperature is still a little bit above average through the north and the west of Europe. And precipitation anomalies. Well, very weak signals, but looks drier from Spain up towards Scandinavia there. And then week 6 is 15th, 22nd of September, looking rather ridgy through the west of Europe. Could that begin to pull hot air back up from the south again? Maybe the 500 millibar heights again, showing that ridge very nicely, settling and centering, as it has done so often since, well, really the start of the year, but particularly since February and March, through the western portion of Europe. And the temperature only therefore is lifting up as the wind swishes back into the south. Hotter air may be coming back up western side of Europe again, and precipitation looking largely drier through those western portions of Europe. We'll see. So the signal for the next month, anyway, this is a 30-day look ahead, of course, primarily is for the next couple of weeks to be mostly dry and hot across many parts of Europe, and then maybe late August into the beginning of September might just see something a little bit cooler or less warm, perhaps, better to say, and slightly more showery. That's to be determined this week's signal. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, and we'll do it all over again next week. We're going to be back with 10 to 14 there, and maybe a look at Bank Holiday weekend. So come back for that later. For this one, that's all now. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye for now.